Chapter 51. Sect Punishment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 51. Sect Punishment. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Pei Ling naturally did not know what was going on in the inner sect. He was worried the whole journey here. After getting out of the corpse cloud, he quickly stuffed a spirit stone into his senior brother's hand and asked him to take him to the General Affairs Hall. When the disciple from the General Affairs Hall heard the reason for Pei Ling's visit, there was a playful look in his eyes, but he did not say anything. Soon he completed the paperwork for him. After accepting the 2 demon beasts, he nimbly gave out the rewards. Delivering a letter was as easy as lifting a finger. The main reward was 20 inferior-grade spirit stones for traveling back and forth. Getting rid of the flower demon was 47 inferior-grade spirit stones. The last purple-eyed ferret was at the 6th level of the awakening realm, after all. The mission reward was 100 inferior-grade spirit stones, totaling 167 inferior-grade spirit stones. Pei Ling counted carefully and sighed inwardly. If not for the punishment from the sect, he would have gained a small fortune from the 3 missions. Compared to a 5-digit fine, 100 inferior-grade spirit stones was just a drop in the bucket. Speak of the devil. He had just left the General Affairs Hall when several cultivators in tight-fitting clothes and soft-soled boots arrived. The person in the lead had a silver mark embroidered on his sleeve. He walked like a dragon or tiger, had a dark face, a slight beard, and a pair of narrow eyes that shone brightly. On his back was a sword case. He blocked Pei Ling's path in front of everyone. New disciple of Shady Sephora Peak, Pei Ling. Come with us. Pei Ling's heart sank as he said, Who are you? Why do you want me to go with you? The disciplinary hall of Shady Sephora Peak, that person said calmly. You've been exposed. Either you follow us obediently, or we invite you to leave. As he spoke, he gestured with his hand. Pei Ling's expression changed several times. In the end, he slowly exhaled and said in a deep voice, All right, I'll go with you. This was the outer sect. He could not escape. Furthermore, even though the other party's attitude seemed to be calm, his vital energy was ready for action. If Pei Ling made any untoward moves, he would definitely suffer a heavy blow. New disciple, Pei Ling. Half a day later, Pei Ling was brought back to Shady Sephora Peak. The disciplinary hall was located in a valley on the north side of the peak. It was a 3-story building made entirely of black stone. The surroundings seemed to have been cleaned. There was no vegetation, but a large square was paved with bluestone. It seemed deserted. The person who brought Pei Ling back said that his surname was Jiang and his name was Liang. He was one of the 3 silver-robed deacons of Shady Sephora Peak. He was fully responsible for investigating the deaths of Li Siguang and the other 2. In the interrogation room in the northeast corner on the 1st floor, Jiang Liang sat in the seat of honor and flipped through the case file in front of him casually. On the 14th, before 6:30 a.m., they took the Dark Bone Phantom ship and entered the Holy Sect. Then they were led by their elder brother, Pei Hongnian, to. Pei Ling had originally been racking his brains for excuses. At this moment, as he listened to Jiang Liang's words, he broke out in a cold sweat. Jiang Liang recounted everything that had happened, from the moment he stepped onto the dust-severing platform to the moment he left the sect with Chen Huan and the others. He covered every detail big and small, and even the timing was not the slightest bit off. What made Pei Ling's blood run cold was the conflict between him and Li Siguang and the other 2. Now that Jiang Liang said it, it was as if he had witnessed it with his own eyes at the scene. Who attacked first, who used a spell, who moved, who counter-attacked. He also described the dense forest where Pei Ling had gone to train in vivid detail. Jiang Liang even took the time to evaluate, from the damage to the vegetation, this set of saber techniques was fierce and ruthless. It was really not bad. Then it was another series of precise and detailed descriptions. The only mistake was that he had returned from the dense forest to his residence to launch a sneak attack and kill Li Siguang and the other two, not because he held a grudge or was deliberately taking revenge, nor did he cultivate any exceptionally brilliant escape technique. It was purely the system's doing. The evidence is conclusive. Jiang Liang was finally done with the whole story. He asked amiably, "New disciple Pei Ling, do you have any objections?" Pei Ling smiled bitterly and said, "No." Jiang Liang nodded and took another stack of documents. "Then let's discuss the punishment." There was another round of detailed analysis and evaluation. From the moment Li Siguang, Miao Qingyan, and Zhou Yi entered the sect, to their cultivation, personality, their contributions to the sect, their spending power in the sect's investment in them, their respective backgrounds, the series of effects caused by their deaths, and so on, in the end, he concluded, a total of 74,841 inferior-grade spirit stones. Starting from today, they have to be paid within 3 months. If you're late by a day, you'll be handed over to the sect to be punished. Is there a problem? What? It's not 90,000 spirit stones, but only about 70,000. And he did not even deduct the time that he had fled to escape punishment. Pooey. It was time for him to go out on a mission. Perhaps because he had always thought that he had to pay 90,000 spirit stones all this while since he killed Li Siguang and the other two, Pei Ling was actually a little touched. However, he quickly calmed down and tried to bargain. Miao Qingyan and Zhou Yi were both at the 5th level of qi refinement. They attacked me together with Li Siguang and were killed by me. It's obvious that they couldn't be educated and wasted the sect's painstaking nurturing. In that case, isn't more than 70,000 spirit stones inappropriate? I think 30,000 spirit stones is more reasonable. 74,844 inferior-grade spirit stones. This is the result of the disciplinary hall's precise calculations. Jiang Liang smiled and pushed the documents to the side. He crossed his fingers and looked at Pei Ling with interest, saying slowly, "In fact, Li Siguang, Miao Qingyan, and Zhou Yi's friends and families are not satisfied. They think that it should be 90,000 inferior-grade spirit stones. Especially the outer sect elder, Li Ping. Just yesterday, he even personally held a banquet to entertain our disciplinary hall master. At the banquet, he inadvertently mentioned you. However, the hall master has always been fair and rejected him immediately. That was why he maintained the amount of 74,841 inferior-grade spirit stones." He smiled. "Do you still think that the disciplinary hall's judgment is unfair?" "Understand." Pei Ling took a deep breath and cupped his fists. "Thank you, Deacon, for upholding justice." Jiang Liang nodded and said nonchalantly, "You can leave. When the 3 months are up and you have not paid the fine, we'll look for you again. You can do whatever you want in these 3 months. If you want to run, you can give it a try." "Deacon, you're joking," Pei Ling said in a low voice. "A country has its laws, a family has its rules. Since I've entered the holy sect, I naturally have to defend the sect's rules with my life." He wanted to King run. The key was that judging from Jiang Liang's confident look, he, a 4th stage qi refinement realm cultivator, would not be able to run away. After leaving the disciplinary hall, Pei Ling thought quickly for a while and walked resolutely to the mountainside. A moment later, an old disciple, who had obtained 3 inferior-grade spirit stones, summoned a corpse cloud for him with a smile. "Don't worry, if you're looking for other inner sect senior brothers and sisters, we might not be able to help you. But we know the residence of the inner sect master all too well. The corpse cloud will send you directly to the entrance of his courtyard in Kulan. If Master Zheng is not there, there will definitely be disciples from the branch there. You can ask again then. Since you were brought in by Master Zheng, they will definitely tell you." Pei Ling had thought that since the outer sect disciples lived high up on the mountains above the sea of clouds, the residences of the inner sect disciples would definitely be on even higher mountains. Contrary to his expectations, however, after the corpse cloud floated into the inner sect's territory, it instantly descended. Before him was a stretch of plains and valleys. There was lush vegetation, and many birds and beasts. Occasionally, there was a seven-dot-colored mist rising in the air. It was a beautiful sight. Just as Pei Ling was taking in the scenery, the corpse cloud suddenly turned into a valley and descended to the ground in front of a small courtyard beside a waterfall. Then it disappeared. Seeing that there was no one outside the small courtyard, Pei Ling solemnly adjusted his robes and appearance before stepping forward and carefully knocking on the door. Chapter 52. Junior brother, feel free to tell me if you have any trouble. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 52. Junior brother, feel free to tell me if you have any trouble. Translator. Atlas Studios editor. Atlas Studios. In the small courtyard, Jing Jingshan, who had a bruised face, was applying medicine on himself angrily. He had been beaten up by Miao Qingyang for no reason that day. If not for the fact that Miao Qingyang was afraid of Fairy Li, he might not have survived. Over the past 2 days, Jing Jingshan had anxiously sent someone to the outer sect to find out the ins and outs of the matter so that he could find the culprit who framed him. But his face had been greatly damaged after all. Therefore, he used the excuse of cultivation to curl up in the small courtyard of Kalan and not go out. He even ordered his junior brothers and sisters not to approach him unless it was urgent. When he heard the knocking on the door, he frowned and thought to himself, could it be that he found the person who framed me? He immediately made a hand seal and withdrew the array formation. At the same time, he waved his hand to open the door and said in a low voice, "Come in." Senior brother Zheng. Pei Ling, who was outside the door, heaved a sigh of relief. It was always a good thing that Jing Jingshan was willing to see him. As soon as he entered, he cupped his fists and bowed. Ever since I entered the sect, I've been thinking about repaying senior brother Zheng's kindness all the time. It's just that my cultivation level is low and I don't have anything on me. It's a little too insincere to thank you with nothing. Now that I've returned from the mission, thanks to senior brother Zheng, I am lucky to have gained something. So I came to express my sincerity. As he spoke, he took out 10 inferior-grade spirit stones from his storage bag, held them with both hands, and handed them to Jing Jingshan respectfully. On the way here, Pei Ling had already done a calculation. The mission reward in his hands was 167 inferior-grade spirit stones. In addition, he had inherited the remnants of Chen Huan and the others' inheritance. At most, it was less than 200 inferior-grade spirit stones. Compared to a fine of more than 70,000 spirit stones, it was nothing. If he could greatly reduce the fine through Jing Jingshan, or obtain benefits such as an extension of the deadline, or at least intimidate Li Siguang in his family. In short, he would not lose anything by achieving any goal. If he gained nothing, he would lose 13 inferior-grade spirit stones. Pei Ling could afford to pay this price. At the thought of this, Pei Ling looked up slightly so that Jing Jingshan could see the sincere and grateful expression on his face. Jing Jingshan was stunned. He did not expect it to be Pei Ling, nor did he expect him to thank him. He could not react in time. On the other hand, Pei Ling looked up and saw the injuries on Jing Jingshan's face. He could not help but be stunned. Senior brother Zheng, you are. A few days ago, I sparred with a late-stage Foundation Establishment branch master. Pei Ling was shocked when he heard that. He quickly coughed to hide his reaction. Although I won by a hair's breadth, the other party's cultivation is after all a level higher than mine. It was inevitable that I'd suffer some physical injuries. Pei Ling could not help but be impressed. In his opinion, the outer sect's Chen Huan and his group were not easy to deal with, and the inner sect disciples who were promoted from the outer sect were definitely more vicious. Jing Jingshan could fight those at a higher level than him and even won by a move. No wonder he could follow Fairy Li. He quickly said, so that's how it is. Senior brother Zheng was actually able to defeat a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator with a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivation. As expected of an inner sect elite, the future of the sect. Jing Jingshan's body was still aching faintly. Hearing this, his face heated up slightly. He forced himself to be calm and said, "Junior brother Pei, you're going too far. Among the branch masters in the inner sect." Cough, cough, after all, he still cared about his face. He swallowed his words halfway. To his surprise, Pei Ling immediately nodded and said seriously, "Senior brother Zheng, I understand. Although senior brother's cultivation level is high and your strength is formidable, you don't like to be ostentatious. I won't tell anyone. Isn't he just playing indifferent? If King know too well." At the thought of this, Pei Ling could not help but feel a little worried. If this senior brother Zheng is someone who sits on the fence, there's a high chance that he won't interfere in my troublesome affairs. Could it be that my 13 inferior grade spirit stones have gone down the drain today? Let's not talk about this anymore. Jing Jingshan did not want to continue this topic and quickly changed the subject. "Oh right, you just came back from a mission. You've just entered the sect and you're already doing a mission. What mission are you doing? Did you meet with any trouble?" Senior brother Zheng, Pei Ling waited for him to ask these questions, so he said respectfully, "When I first entered the sect, I read the sect rules. But I was penniless, so for security against the unexpected, I accepted a few missions. It was to go to Spiraling Mountain City." At the mention of Spiraling Mountain City, Pei Ling's heart skipped a beat. At long last, he remembered Duan Muyan's advice. Go to the disciplinary hall later. He quickly took note of this matter and composed himself. He briefly described the circumstances of the mission to Jing Jingshan and talked about the trouble he encountered at the end. On the way to Spiraling Mountain City, senior brother Zhang Zhongqin said that he wanted to assess my strength so that I wouldn't get into trouble at the critical moment. Senior brother Zhang Zhongqin's cultivation level is a level higher than mine. I didn't last long before I was defeated. As expected, senior brother Zheng is still amazing. You can win against a cultivator who is a level higher. When Jing Jingshan heard this, the corners of his lips twitched and his mood improved. After all, ever since he was beaten unconscious by Miao Qingyang in front of his junior brothers, his prestige had plummeted. However, since his senior sister was in seclusion, he could not ask for her protection and could only rely on himself to face this situation. On the other hand, Miao Qingyang had deliberately publicized what happened. It was said that he even received the support of Zhou Jinchuan, who had always been at odds with his senior sister and had been suppressed by her. Instantly, this matter became a laughing stock in the entire inner sect. Otherwise, Jing Jingshan would not have used cultivation as an excuse to lie low in this small courtyard until the fuss died down. Now that he was repeatedly praised by Pei Ling, he could not help but feel that what he said made sense. After all, that damn Miao Qingyang was at the late stage of the foundation establishment realm. He was a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Was it embarrassing to lose to Miao Qingyang? No, that was a given. On the other hand, although Miao Qingyang seemed to be very aggressive, he did not really dare to kill him to avenge his brother. What a coward! Pei Ling did not know what this senior brother Zheng was thinking, but after he sensed that Jing Jingshan's expression seemed to have eased, he was secretly delighted and did not mention his mission. After all, it was really not easy to tell Jing Jingshan about the deaths of Chen Huan and the others. If he concealed anything, once Jing Jingshan found out, who knew if he would lose his trust and his favorable impression of him. So he did not mention the mission situation at all. He only repeated the scene where he could not beat Zhang Zhongqin on the corpse cloud to set off Jing Jingshan's outstanding battle achievements. He put in more effort to flatter this senior brother until Jing Jingshan beamed with joy. Feeling that the atmosphere was about right, he said, "Senior brother Zheng, I just joined the sect. I really encountered some trouble out of sheer helplessness. I wonder if you can give me some pointers. Jing Shan was in a good mood. When he heard this, he quickly calculated in his heart. This Pei Ling was someone that senior sister Li took a fancy to. Now that senior sister Li was in seclusion, he had to take care of him on her behalf. In addition, Pei Ling did not come from an influential family background. He was sensible, and he even took the initiative to give him spirit stones as a thank you gift. Although 10 inferior-grade spirit stones were not worth mentioning, it was obvious that this kid was not unreasonable. He guessed that the so-called trouble would not be borrowing money or any big trouble. Since that was the case, he patted his chest confidently and promised, "Don't worry, junior brother Pei. Although I'm only one of the 13 branch masters in the inner sect, matters of the outer sect are not a big deal. Just tell me if you have any trouble." Seeing this, Pei Ling heaved a sigh of relief and praised himself for the value of these 13 spirit stones. He hurriedly said, "It's like this, senior brother. On the day I entered the sect, Li Siguang, Miao Qingyan, and Zhou Yi took a fancy to the life-extinguishing blade that senior brother rewarded me with. Not only did they want to snatch it, but their words were also quite disrespectful to senior brother. I, Pei Ling, was deeply indebted to senior brother. How could I tolerate them treating senior brother like this? Even though I was weak, in order to protect senior brother, I risked my life. I had to kill them to avenge senior brother. In short, after a desperate battle, I killed all 3 of them with the life-extinguishing blade." Pei Ling slightly glossed over the entire incident and said hopefully, "Senior brother Zhang, those 3 bastards' friends and families hate me now. Please protect me, senior brother." Chapter 53. Relaxed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 53. Relaxed Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. What? The pupils of Jing Shan, who was initially calm and composed, suddenly constricted. He turned around abruptly and stared at Pei Ling intently. His gaze was fierce, as if he wanted to devour him. Pei Ling was shocked. "Senior brother Zheng. So it was this bastard who hurt me." Jing Shan was furious. He wished he could slap Pei Ling to death immediately. However, as the spiritual power circulated in his body, he took a deep breath and did not attack. After all, senior sister had taken a fancy to Pei Ling. Without his senior sister's permission, he could not make the slightest move. "I understand." Jing Shan did not want to see Pei Ling anymore. After all, when he saw this kid, he could not help but remember how Miao Qingyang beat him up in public that day. Although he and Miao Qingyang had long had grievances against each other, it was fine if he got beaten up because of his personal grievances. But because of Pei Ling. What is this? So Jing Shan calmed himself down and ordered his guest to leave in a low voice. "If there's nothing else, you should go back to the outer sect. After all, there's a difference between the inner and outer sect. You're only an outer sect disciple now. It won't be good for you if others see you in the inner sect. Get lost quickly. F***ck off. I don't want to slap you to death on the spot." Yi Ling felt that something was wrong, but seeing Jing Shan's expression, he did not dare to say anything. He said resentfully, "Yes." But just as he turned around to leave, Jing Shan thought of something and called out to him, "You killed Miao Qingyan and the other 2 single-handedly. What were their cultivation levels? Were they injured?" In response to senior brother Zheng, 2 of them were at the 4th stage Qi refinement realm and the other was at the 5th stage Qi refinement realm. Neither of them was injured. Pei Ling did not understand what he meant, but he still said truthfully, "I could not have killed them." It was after a life-and-death struggle. He wanted to highlight how fearless he was in order to protect Jing Shan's reputation and honor, but he was already in front of Jing Shan, who sized him up carefully and gasped, "You're actually not injured." Defeating 3 people single-handedly was rarely seen, and one of the fellow disciples had a cultivation level that was higher than his. More importantly, Pei Ling actually appeared in such a perfect state in just a few days. This meant that killing Miao Cheng'an and the other two was not a death match at all. It was not effortless, but it was not difficult either. Otherwise, based on Jing Jingshan's understanding of Pei Ling, this kid did not have any elixirs or powerful healing techniques. If he was really seriously injured, how could he have recovered so quickly? Senior sister is really discerning. Although Jing Jingshan had never doubted Fairy Li's judgment, he did not expect that Pei Ling, who Fairy Li seemed to have casually accepted, was actually so outstanding. When he thought of this, the anger in his heart did not decrease at all, but his killing intent became much fainter. The main reason was that if Pei Ling was just an ordinary person, killing him would be fine if he was really pushed into a corner. At most, he would turn around and apologize to his senior sister and receive some punishment. However, he did not expect this kid to be an unpolished gem buried in the Pei family. He had just entered the sect and already displayed such amazing talent and combat strength. In time, he would definitely become a formidable stalwart under senior sister. In that case, how could Jing Jingshan dare to touch him? In fact, he really wanted to give this kid some protection as he had requested. Jing Jingshan's expression darkened. After a moment, he said coldly, "I know what to do with this matter. I'll arrange it for you. It's just that the rules of the holy sect are not to be defied. You have to know what to do in the future." Ei Ling was overjoyed when he heard that. "Yes. Don't worry, senior brother. If those people didn't provoke me, I would have cultivated well to repay you." In his opinion, Jing Jingshan's words meant that he had agreed to shoulder the responsibility. As for what to do next, Pei Ling also understood. After all, the Deep Sea sect had been established for tens of thousands of years and had thrived until now. How could the rules of the sect be so easily violated? Therefore, the fine this time could not be exempted. However, Jing Jingshan was responsible for resolving the other troubles, such as the three families plot. At the thought of this, Pei Ling instantly felt much more relaxed. He excused himself from the Kalan courtyard and formed a seal to summon the corpse cloud to return to the outer sect. He felt from the bottom of his heart that today's 13 inferior-grade spirit stones were totally worth it. Senior brother Zheng is really a good person. After returning to shady Sephora Peak, Pei Ling rushed straight to the disciplinary hall without stopping. He found Jiang Liang and told him everything that he had told Duan Muyen. Finally, under Jiang Liang's faint smile, he braced himself and said, "That was probably what happened. I just joined the sect and didn't know much. According to City Lord Duanmu's guidance, this matter needs to be reported to the disciplinary hall, so I came to pass on the message." "I understand." The corners of Jiang Liang's lips twitched as he said, "The disciplinary hall will send someone to investigate. When the results are out, they will naturally inform you." If this was before, Pei Ling might have thought that since Chen Huan and the others were dead, and it was City Lord Duanmu's territory, and there was no evidence, the disciplinary hall would not find anything even if they wanted to. However, after witnessing the ability of the disciplinary hall to investigate, he did not dare to be so arrogant. He could only bid farewell with a forced smile. Forget it, the most important thing now is to earn spirit stones. After leaving the disciplinary hall again, Pei Ling thought about the current situation and a cold glint flashed across his eyes. The plot by Li Siguang and the other two's families was blocked by Jing Jingshan. The disciplinary hall's investigation into the deaths of Chen Huan and the others was also mediated by Duan Muyen, the city lord. Although he could not say that he would not be implicated, at least for the time being, he did not have to worry. The current plan was to find a way to earn spirit stones as soon as possible. Otherwise, even if Chen Huan and the others' deaths were thought to have nothing to do with him and no one in the sect wanted to harm him, just the fine would be enough to kill him in 3 months. At the thought of this, Pei Ling went to the platform on the mountainside and spent a spirit stone to head toward Elixir Peak. Although he felt that he might be more talented in talisman crafting, considering that talisman crafting actually required 2 to 3 years to master the basics, it was F*King useless. What use was there in learning? As for forging, seeing how strenuous it was for Chen Huan and the rest, he felt that it was better to go to Elixir Peak to take a look. If not, he could try controlling beasts. In short, he would take a spin first. Outer Sect Elixir Peak did not look much different from the surrounding mountains. However, after landing, one could sense that the vegetation on this mountain was particularly luxuriant. In the midst of it, he could clearly feel the exuberant vitality. It was incomparably abundant, and it caused Pei Ling's spirits to be lifted. He composed himself and looked around at the situation. Soon he followed a large group of disciples who were in a hurry. Not long after, they entered a majestic hall close to the mountaintop. When they entered the hall, what they thought was a classroom was actually a huge pit. The bottom of the pit was uneven and there were seats placed. In the middle was an island-like stage. Pei Ling's luck was not bad. Not long after he sat down with everyone, he heard 3 chimes. The hall that was filled with whispers instantly fell silent. After a while, a young cultivator in a light robe appeared on the stage. Chapter 54. Benefits of the Demon Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 54. Benefits of the Demon Sect. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. This cultivator looked to be about 27 or 28 years old. After he appeared, he flicked his sleeves and sat down. Surprisingly, he had an old man's voice. He first said a few polite words before continuing. Recently, I've already explained the entire process of refining the bone tempering pill. So today, I'll start the furnace on the spot to refine the elixir and let you see it from beginning to end. During this process, you're not allowed to speak or disturb. After the refinement is over, you can ask 5 questions for free. As soon as he finished speaking, he took out a palm-sized elixir refining furnace from his sleeve and threw it into the air. It quickly expanded and became a 3-legged copper furnace that was more than half the height of a person. It was black with some silver bits. The body of the furnace had some engravings of demons, but the lid was shaped like Buddha. After it landed, the entire hall felt a little cold. The cultivator formed another seal and a dark blue flame silently ignited in front of him. It seemed cold and lonely. It quickly burrowed into the bottom of the furnace and quietly lapped it up. This was an opportunity one had when I was young. A 7th-grade immortal fire. The cultivator then took out some medicinal herbs, metals, and so on. As he arranged them, he introduced each one. You don't have an immortal fire now. If you have an immortal fire in the future, but if it's only a 9th-grade immortal fire, it's better to rent an alchemy room in Elixir Peak. After all, the array formation set up by the sect in a higher than C-grade alchemy room can directly guide the 9 nether fire at the bottom of the mountain to refine elixirs. If you rent a D-grade alchemy room, you can buy the 9 nether fire sealed in a talisman to use. The 9 nether fire is considered superior among the 9 grades of immortal fire. Pei Ling memorized the lesson with all his attention. Although he could not understand it at all, it was obvious that this cultivator would not teach him 1.1. He could only try his best to learn it by heart and try to make up for the gaps in understanding by learning from his fellow disciples. Just as he was observing carefully, a miserable cry suddenly sounded. Pei Ling felt dizzy. When he came back to his senses, he saw that the cultivator was holding a ball of mangled flesh. He said calmly, "This is the most difficult medicinal herb to handle, the ghost placenta, as I mentioned previously. The ghost placenta can attack the soul with wailing. You guys are only at the chi refinement realm. It's very easy to be controlled by the wailing. So you have to strictly follow the steps taught in my class. If you really can't handle it, it's fine. There's a stall at Elixir Peak Bazaar which has the yen flag. It has ready-made ghost placenta for sale. You can get a discount if you mention my name. The lecturer named Yan Gu spoke as he nimbly operated the furnace. Soon the wailing sound quickly weakened and finally turned into a mass of bloody liquid that was thrown into the furnace. EXT was the refining process that dazzled Pei Ling. He could not understand it at all. He could not even understand some of the terms that the other disciples were discussing in low voices. Just as he felt that he might not have the talent for alchemy and should have gone to the other peaks to take a look earlier, the system's ding-dong sounded. Detected that the outside world is imparting alchemy skills. Recording, Ei Ling was stunned. When he came to his senses, he was instantly overjoyed. He did not expect that other than cultivation techniques, the system could also record elixir refinement. This retarded system has finally become smart. After a while, the fragrance of elixirs filled the room. As Yan Gu performed hand seals and explained how to start up the furnace, a batch of freshly refined bone-tempering pills appeared in front of everyone. System. Ding dong, alchemy recording completed. Host, please name it. Ei Ling said, let's call it the elixir refinement technique, bone-tempering pill. He had a light bulb moment. Since the system could record alchemy, then wouldn't talisman refinement, weapon forging, beast taming, also work? At the thought of this, Pei Ling did not delay and promptly attended all the free courses in the outer sect. The second place he went to was Talisman Peak. This mountain was clearly taller than the surrounding mountains. Upon arrival, one would discover that there were talisman engravings everywhere. Some were as small as the head of a fly while others spanned several feet. They could be found throughout the mountain. The lecturer was no exception. His bare hands, arms, and even his neck and face were covered with various talismans. If you want to do a good job, you have to sharpen your tools first. This lecturer's expression was stern and unsmiling. The moment he came up, he started straight away. It's the same principle when it comes to making talismans. If you want to become a talisman practitioner, you have to learn how to make talisman paper first. As he spoke, he waved his hand and got someone to escort 5 Death Row prisoners to the classroom. Among these 5 Death Row convicts, one was old, one was young, and one was burly. There were 2 women, both very young. One had tender skin, while the other had coarse skin. The 5 of them were restrained by a spell. Their eyes were filled with terror, but they were like wooden puppets, unable to move at all. The lecturer looked at them as if he was looking at materials and asked patiently and kindly, of these 5 people, whose skin do you think is most suitable for making talisman paper? Gulp, Pei Ling swallowed silently and quickly glanced around. He saw that all his fellow disciples had serious expressions. There was even someone who raised his hand eagerly. Lecturer, I think that young man is the most suitable. He's young and still a child. Although his innate chi from the womb has dissipated, his spirit energy should still be higher than the others. I think it should be the women's. Women have a dark nature and female ghosts are clearly more ferocious than male ghosts. These 2 women look weak, but if they are made into talisman paper, the quality will probably be higher than those made from the 3 men. No, no. That burly man is full of spirit and energy. His skin is the best. What about the old man? Am I the only one who thinks that this old man's skin is not bad? Damn, you're obviously guessing. So what if I'm guessing? Guessing correctly is also a form of strength. The lecturer on the stage looked at the disciples discussing animatedly. In the end, he waved his hand. Since you can't decide, then I'll hand the 5 of them to you to make talisman paper on the spot. The best will be rewarded. Not long after, screams rose and fell in the classroom, and the smell of blood quickly pervaded the place. The lecturer had a calm expression as he commented on the disciples' knife skills and techniques from time to time. Soon after, he noticed Pei Ling who was wiping his cold sweat and frowned. What's your name? You don't seem to have the heart to do it. No, Pei Ling was stunned and denied it immediately. I just think that my senior brothers and sisters' knife skills are all exquisite. I'm afraid I'll drag them down. That's fine too. The lecturer stared at him for a while and said with a chuckle, if your knife skills are not good, you can buy ready-made ones. There's a store in my Talisman Peak Bazaar that was opened by a good for nothing junior of mine. Say my name and I guarantee that you'd get good and cheap talismans. If you want to practice your knife skills, my junior also has death row prisoners like the ones today. Men, women, old, young, sick, disabled, and pregnant. There's everything you need. Pei Ling forced a smile. Yes, yes, yes. I'll definitely buy some later. I'll definitely buy some. He felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. It was not easy for him to endure until this lesson was over. He immediately escaped and did not dare to look back until he left Talisman Peak. One didn't expect Pei Hongnian to have survived such a course. Pei Ling was not a soft-hearted person. If it threatened his own survival or even important benefits, he would not hesitate to do it no matter how weak and innocent the other party appeared. The problem was that crafting talismans was not his only way out. To peel off the skin of a living person just like that, and some were even children's skin, to practice crafting talismans really went against the values he had developed in his previous life. On the way to Weapon Forging Peak, Pei Ling thought to himself, that's not a good person either. He was actually toyed with by Sun Yinglan. Damn it, has this brother never seen a woman in Deer Spring City? On Weapon Forging Peak, the lecturer this time was a beautiful middle-aged woman with an elegant demeanor. Her voice was gentle and her manner was graceful. She looked frail. Pei Ling sat down carefully and held his breath, waiting for the lesson to begin. Chapter 55. Elixir Refinement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 55. Elixir Refinement. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. After a moment, the lesson time arrived. This seemingly weak female lecturer took out a cute little demonic beast cub and said, the core of our weapon forging technique is spirit integration. Only by mastering the secrets of many punishments can you inflict maximum pain on the victim during execution. Only then can their hearts be filled with hatred and anger towards you, followed by fear. Only extreme fear can make them fear you even after they are tortured and refined. They won't dare to resist at all, or else they might suffer a backlash. So, to become a qualified forger, one must first be a qualified executioner. As she spoke, the lecturer listed dozens of torture devices that Pei Ling had never seen or heard of. She introduced them as if she was familiar with them and continued to remind them, if anyone is interested, there is a shop opened by a senior sister of yours at the marketplace on Weapon Forging Peak. If you mention my name, you will be given the insights on forging tools. Alright, back to business. Let me demonstrate the key to whipping. In the evening, Pei Ling dragged his exhausted body back to shady Sephora Peak. He had originally wanted the Hall of Affairs to find him a new place to live. Unexpectedly, when he arrived, the other party's expression changed drastically when he saw his nameplate. Junior Brother Pei, you already have a place to live. According to the sex rules, if you want to change your residence, you have to pay 100 inferior-grade spirit stones. Pei Ling asked worriedly, then who are the people living in my place now? Is it empty? That disciple had an anxious expression as if he was trying to chase away the plague. Of course it's empty. Moreover, we won't arrange for anyone to go over in the short term. So Junior Brother Pei, you should rest assured and stay there. That place is clean and elegant. It's one of the best places on this peak. Just me. Then what if Li Siguang and his family ambush me? Although Senior Brother Zheng would have helped to warn him, one could never be too careful. Yi Ling could not help feeling conflicted. After pondering for a moment, he took out the sect rules and flipped through them. Then he put them away and went decisively to the disciplinary hall. He sat in the square in front of the disciplinary hall and meditated the entire night. The attendants who came and went ignored him, which made Pei Ling heave a sigh of relief. The next morning, he went to Elixir Peak. He had no choice. After yesterday's experience, what he could accept the most was elixir refinement. After all, Pei Ling did not want to skin people alive, nor did he want to torture and kill demonic beasts' cubs. Fortunately, the journey to Elixir Peak was smooth. Pei Ling followed Yan Gu's instructions and quickly found a place. After bargaining, he bought 2 sets of materials for refining bone-tempering pills. Ghost placenta, frost iron grass, crocodile, scale tiger bone, crimson sunflower. Blood essence of awakened demonic beast. To be honest, he felt the pinch buying these 2 sets of materials. Just the ghost placenta alone cost 10 inferior-grade spirit stones. He was still not done. If he wanted to handle it well, he would have to add another 5 inferior-grade spirit stones. As for frost iron grass, they were 6 inferior-grade spirit stones per stalk, 2 stalks for each furnace. Crocodile armored tiger bone, 7 inferior-grade spirit stones for 1 tail, half a tail for each furnace. Crimson sunflower, 3 inferior-grade spirit stones for 1 petal. 1 furnace had to have 3 petals. As for the blood essence of an awakened demonic beast, it depended on the cultivation level of the demonic beast. Below level 3, each drop was an inferior grade spirit stone. Above level 3, the price doubled. Adding some miscellaneous supplementary materials, 1 set of materials cost 37 inferior-grade spirit stones. Junior brother, alchemy is really not as simple as you think. The shopkeeper kept persuading Pei Ling to buy more. Even if you're extraordinarily talented, you'd have to practice on dozens or even hundreds of furnaces at first. The materials you buy are only enough to start 2 furnaces. It's not enough to master the skill at all. At that time, I'm afraid you'll have to leave just as the furnace in the alchemy room is operating. It's just a waste of spirit stones. Then he said, why don't you put off buying all the ingredients on the formula and focus on buying 1 or 2 types of medicinal herbs to practice the method of processing. Thank you for your guidance, senior brother. If Pei Ling were to do it himself, he would definitely follow this senior brother's suggestion. However, he had the system and rejected him immediately. But I still want to try. The shopkeeper advised him a few more times. Seeing that Pei Ling had made up his mind, he shook his head and did not say anything. After handing over the spirit stones and the goods, he watched as his junior brother left. Then he said to his subordinate, who was running an errand, I wonder how many new people Uncle, Master Yen has deceived with his alchemy skills. I keep feeling that seeing Uncle, Master Yen refine elixirs so casually, they think that they will definitely be able to do it. The handyman flattered, boss is kind-hearted and repeatedly advised him. But this immortal master would not listen. When he comes to his senses in the future, he can't blame boss. Kind-hearted. The shopkeeper could not help but laugh. If he was sincere, he would not have colluded with Yan Gu to open this store. He only pretended to be considerate because he could tell that Pei Ling would not listen. The Deep Sea sect was huge. With so many people, there would always be a portion of people who dreamed of reaching the top in a single step. The shopkeeper had seen many disciples like Pei Ling who felt that they could do it after attending a few classes. However, even among these people, the shopkeeper felt that Pei Ling had an inflated sense of his own abilities. You should King buy materials for tens of furnaces. If you're unlucky, you might even end up with a furnace and a half's worth of defective goods. You want to succeed by buying only 2 sets of materials. This is no different from throwing spirit stones into the water to listen to the sound. Shaking his head, the shopkeeper sighed. This Pei Ling is so rash and headstrong. I'm afraid soon he'll end up like those brainless bastards. He wouldn't even know how he died. It did not matter if Pei Ling died. The key was that his store would lose a buyer. However, on second thought, no matter how stupid Pei Ling was, he would come to his senses after suffering a few losses. Even if he did not come to his senses, there was nothing he could do after he used up all his spirit stones. If he wanted his store to last, he would ultimately have to rely on those proper alchemists. At the thought of this, the shopkeeper forgot about Pei Ling and arranged the medicinal herbs with the handyman, preparing to receive the next customer. Pei Ling did not know what the shopkeeper was thinking. Even if he knew, it did not matter. He left the market and went straight to the pill chamber to rent a D.grade alchemy room. Even though it was the worst alchemy room, it cost 10 inferior.grade spirit stones per hour. Moreover, although the elixir refining furnace in the alchemy room was free to use, the immortal fire was not free. It was sealed in a talisman for 10 spirit stones each. The two sets of expenses added up to a total of 94 inferior grade spirit stones. Before the elixir refinement began, more than half of his wealth, which he had put his life on the line for, was gone. Pei Ling's heart was bleeding. After entering the alchemy room, he locked it with his nameplate and walked around to check. After finding no problems, Pei Ling cautiously called out the system. On the floating interface, there was an additional option behind Option. Technique Selection. Inside were the fruits of Pei Ling's labor from the various peaks yesterday: elixir refinement technique, bone tempering pill, talisman creation technique, skinning, casting technique, spirit integration. Pei Ling placed the ingredients for the bone tempering pill in front of him and carefully checked them. After confirming that there were no problems, he instructed in his mind, "System, I want to cultivate. Choose, elixir refinement technique, bone tempering pill." Ding-dong, the system operated rapidly. The smart cultivation system is at your service. 1. Click management, smart upgrades. Beginning cultivation now. A thoughtful reminder. During the cultivation period, the host will lose control of the body. Please do not panic. Chapter 56. Failure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 56. Failure. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios. Ei Ling watched as he walked to the furnace in the alchemy room. He formed hand seals skillfully, drew out the 9 nether fire from the talisman, and lit the furnace. While the furnace was heating up, the system began to process the medicinal herbs. First was the ghost placenta. Ei Ling had already experienced the power of this material yesterday. It was naturally capable of attacking the soul. However, in front of the system, its impact was useless. Soon it was cleaned up and thrown into the furnace. Following that was frost iron grass. As its name suggested, frost iron grass was like a ball of cold iron wire. It did not look like grass at all. He needed to nurture it a little with his spiritual power before it would melt into liquid form. According to the instructions given by Yen Gu, dealing with the frost iron grass was not difficult. The difficult part was the meticulous control of spiritual force. This was what the system was good at. The next step was the crocodile armor tiger bone. This was simple. He just had to find a way to crush it into powder. The finer the powder, the better it was for the medicinal effects. The system spared no effort in crushing 1 or 2 crocodile armor tiger bones several times. As a result, Pei Ling's spiritual energy and physical strength were greatly depleted. He was actually panting. Fortunately, he only needed to lightly process the scarlet sunflower and the blood essence of awakened demonic beast. As for the other supplementary materials, they were not particularly troublesome. Soon the system finished processing all the materials and officially began refining the pills. Pei Ling watched coldly from the sidelines. The system almost completely replicated Yen Gu's refining process yesterday. It was skillful, smooth, and did not hesitate or pause at all. It was as if it had practiced for a long time. After a while, the sound of the medicinal liquid boiling could be heard from the furnace. Waves of medicinal fragrance wafted out, causing Pei Ling, who was sweating profusely, to instantly feel relaxed. His muscles, bones, and skin seemed to have been soaked in hot water, and he felt warm and comfortable. Yesterday, when Yen Gu was refining the bone-tempering pill, it did not seem to have such a strong fragrance. Pei Ling was puzzled. "Jay, wonder if this is good or bad." "Forget it. No matter what, as long as the pill is formed, this investment today will not be in vain." After a while, the system made a series of hand seals and the elixir fire slowly extinguished. The furnace was opened. The system controlled Pei Ling's body, who reached out to grab 12 grayish-white elixirs. The pills were similar to the color of the 10 pills given by the system previously. They had a bone color. However, when Pei Ling observed carefully, he realized that these 12 pills seemed to be more transparent than what the system had taken from Jingjingshan. It was as if there were fewer impurities. He wanted to take a closer look, but the system had already casually stored this batch of pills and started refining the next batch. 12 bone-tempering pills. Pei Ling was in no mood to observe the system's elixir refinement process now. He calculated inwardly. According to Chen Mei, one bone-tempering pill is priced at 10 inferior-grade spirit stones. But since this is the retail price, then the 100 treasure pavilion will probably have to suppress the cost price. 9 is unlikely. It should be around 7 or 8. Based on the price of 7 spirit stones, one furnace will produce 84 inferior-grade spirit stones. 2 furnaces will produce 168 inferior-grade spirit stones. After deducting the production cost of 94 spirit stones, the profit is 74 inferior-grade spirit stones. It hasn't been 2 hours yet. Let's calculate based on 2 hours. 24 hours a day, 30 days a month. 3 months. It's a little difficult. I have to refine pills round the clock. But it's not impossible. At the thought of this, Pei Ling's spirits were lifted. He would survive. However, at this moment, the system threw the processed supplementary materials into the furnace. The elixir liquid in the furnace did not change as smoothly as before. Instead, black smoke quickly rose. Only then did doubts arise in Pei Ling's heart. The color of the elixir changed rapidly before it evaporated quickly. Before Pei Ling could understand what was going on, an unpleasant smell came from the furnace. When he looked again, there was only a layer of charred black at the bottom of the furnace. It was like charcoal. Ding dong, the system suddenly stopped what it was doing and sent a notification. Detected that the host's spiritual force is insufficient and that the elixir refinement has failed. This transfer training session is over. Thank you for using the smart cultivation system. With a key, you can ascend without worries. I look forward to sharing your cultivation evaluation. If you're satisfied, please give a 5-star rating. Before it could finish speaking, Pei Ling regained control of his body. He staggered and held on to the wall to stabilize himself. His entire body was aching and he felt dizzy. He couldn't care less about the discomfort from maxing out his spiritual force. He wanted to cry but had no tears to shed. His spirit stones. He had just calculated and felt that had a chance of paying the fine. In the end, this furnace of refinement was ruined. Putting aside the lost profit, he had also lost 10 inferior-grade spirit stones. Insufficient spiritual force, Pei Ling's heart ached for a moment. He thought of the system's notification and gave it a 1-star rating with a dark expression. He sighed inwardly and calculated in his heart. He took out a porcelain bottle that he had prepared and put away a furnace's worth of bone-tempering pills. After cleaning up the mess, he left the alchemy room and headed for the 100 Treasures Pavilion. Elixir Peak's 100 Treasures Pavilion was built in the southeast direction. It was pleasantly warm and there were many beautiful flowers. It was adjacent to a stream that led to a pool. There was vegetation around it, which attracted many birds. He looked over and saw colorful birds chirping in the shade of the trees. It was beautiful and lively. When they sensed that someone was approaching, countless pairs of eyes looked over. In broad daylight, it felt rather strange. However, Pei Ling had something on his mind and did not have the time to care about unrelated things. He did not even spare them a glance as he strode down the path surrounded by flowers and trees and hurried inside the pavilion. Upon entering, he saw 100 treasures grid. There were many artifacts on display in the 100 treasures grid, big and small, and there were many pots of flowers and shrubs around them. There were a dozen or so green-feathered parrots resting among the flowers and trees. Some were preening while others were tilting their heads and sizing up Pei Ling with their black beady eyes. Not far away stood a short and fat male cultivator in luxurious clothes. His face was flushed as he tried to argue. The medicinal pills that my servant bought for me are all 9 inferior-grade spirit stones each. Why is the bone tempering pill here actually 10 inferior-grade spirit stones each? Could it be that you're deliberately raising the price because I'm dressed well? Don't think I don't know that you paid only 5 or 6 low-grade spirit stones for each bone tempering pill here. The profits are almost double. What a shady store. Pei Ling's expression changed slightly when he heard the first 2 sentences. What? The price offered by the 100 Treasure House is actually so low. His plan for repaying his debts at the specified time hinged on skipping his meals and time for cultivation, and simply focusing on refining elixirs day and night. He intended to sell each bone tempering pill for 7 inferior-grade spirit stone. Not any less. He did not expect the 100 Treasures Pavilion to only offer 6 inferior-grade spirit stones. What should I do? Chapter 57. Jean Sumian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 57. Jean Sumian. Pei Ling's heart sank. Just as he was about to ask questions, he heard a crisp voice that sounded like a little girl's. He looked over and saw a green-feathered parrot standing on a branch. It flapped its wings and said in a crisp voice, "Customer, don't talk nonsense." The 100 Treasures Pavilion was set up by the sect. Why would it cheat you disciples? It's just that you were buying medicinal pills outside. Whether those medicinal pills are good or bad depends on one's judgment. But the things that come out of the 100 Treasures Pavilion are checked by professionals. For example, the bottle of bone tempering pills that I showed you just now was refined by Jean Sumian. This person is quite famous in Elixir Peak. She's touted to be one of the disciples who is most likely to enter the Tao by refining elixirs. We convinced her to sign a contract for long-term supply and had to pay a premium price. How can a medicinal pill refined by such a person be priced the same as a medicinal pill refined by an ordinary person? That male cultivator said indignantly, "Then you'll refine it for me with an ordinary alchemist." Although I've heard of this senior sister, Jean Sumian, no matter how talented she is in alchemy, the bone tempering pill is just a bone tempering pill. Could it be that she can make me fly on the spot? Since that's the case, why should I waste this money? The parrot said plausibly, "There's a saying in the market that goes, one cannot travel 1,000 miles without accumulating small streams. In terms of cultivation, one has to take things one step at a time. Good medicinal pills are naturally better than bad. In the mortal world, aren't people who eat big fish and big meat generally stronger than those who eat plain porridge and small dishes? This sort of thing might not be obvious in a short period of time, but if you take the medicinal pills concocted by an alchemist like Jean Sumian every time, others can only use ordinary things. After accumulating for so long, how could there be no difference?" The male cultivator was actually tempted and hesitated for a moment. Pei Ling took a deep breath and went forward to say, "May I know the procedure for selling medicinal pills?" The parrot glanced at him casually and said nonchalantly, "Go to the back. When you see the entrance to the lunar cave, enter and head for the 3rd room on the left. The elixir appraiser is inside." Pei Ling thanked it and followed its instructions. After taking a few steps, he heard the crisp voice of the parrot from behind him. "Look at that person just now. He wants to sell medicinal pills too. Look at how shabby his clothes are. Can he afford good medicinal herbs? Can he afford a good alchemy room? Can he have superior immortal fire? He looks so young and has such a weak cultivation level. How much experience does he have in mixing water and fire, and sorting out medicinal properties? The pills refined by such a person are only benevolent by the sect. They would rather lose money than take them. You're a good-looking person. Do you dare to use it? Aren't you afraid that after taking it, you'll lie down for a few days? It's a small matter delaying your cultivation. If something serious happens, it'll affect your foundation. That's a big matter for life. Pei Ling was speechless. He turned around and saw that although the male cultivator still looked a little conflicted, he had already taken out his spirit stones. This bastard. Pei Ling cursed silently but did not take it to heart. He followed the directions given by the parrot, found the room, and pushed the door open. Just as he entered, he heard a low shout. Get out! Pei Ling was stunned. He looked inside and saw a very spacious room with luxurious furnishings. There were already 2 male and 2 female cultivators sitting there. 3 of them seemed to be crowding around a female cultivator with a wooden hairpin. The person who spoke was a well-dressed male cultivator who looked to be in his 20s. He had long eyebrows and bright eyes. He was very handsome, but his expression was rather arrogant. Seeing that Pei Ling did not move, he frowned slightly and reprimanded bluntly, "Didn't you hear? Get out! Isn't this the place of the 100 Treasure Pavilion's medicinal pill appraiser?" Pei Ling's first reaction was that that feathered thing was playing him. It was deliberately pointing the wrong way. But on second thought, he said, "I'm here to sell pills." "So what if you are?" The male cultivator said impatiently, "Can't you see Junior Sister Jean here? Wait outside. Come in after we leave." "Forget it." Just as he finished speaking, the female cultivator with the wooden hairpin and cloth robe spoke slowly and said calmly, "It's not like there's no empty seat here. Let this junior brother in." When the male cultivator heard that, his expression instantly turned gentle as he said with a smile, "Junior Sister Jean, you're always so approachable." He glanced at Pei Ling again and said coldly, "It's just that there are always some people who don't know what's good for them and take your thoughtfulness as their opportunity. How many medicinal pills are you selling?" Junior Sister Jean ignored this male cultivator and looked at Pei Ling instead. "I brought quite a number of medicinal pills today. I'm afraid the appraiser will be busy for a while. If you don't have many medicinal pills, I can let them appraise yours first." Pei Ling cupped his hands at her but did not say anything. After all, comparing them to his good senior sister, Chen Mei, none of these fellow disciples made him feel at ease. The female cultivator seems to be doing this out of goodwill. But who knows if she's trying to seduce me? He thought. So after taking a seat in the furthest corner from them, Pei Ling lowered his head and pretended that he did not want to join the conversation at all. "Senior brother Xiao, look at how fierce you are." Seeing that, the female cultivator in the cloth robe shook her head and did not say anything. Instead, another female cultivator who wore a green shirt and had her hair in a top knot covered her mouth in a chuckle and teased, "You scared this junior brother." Not only did he sit so far away from Junior Sister Jean, he didn't even dare to greet her. The male cultivator who reprimanded Pei Ling snorted and said, "At least he knows his place." The green-shorted female cultivator did not pay too much attention to Pei Ling. However, after teasing her companion, she quickly mentioned something else. The last mission was indeed difficult, having to deal with a demon beast at the 9th stage of the awakening realm. Fortunately, senior brother Fan's sword techniques were excellent. At the critical moment, he turned the tide and saved us from being wiped out. "Junior Sister Lu, you're exaggerating. We're all from the same sect. We should watch out for each other." A male cultivator who had not said a word all this while said slowly. "Besides, if I were alone, I wouldn't be able to deal with that bastard." Pei Ling did not show it on his face as he listened to their idle chatter, but he was feeling a little apprehensive. Shockingly, these 4 people were all at the 6th stage and higher Qi refinement realm. They were disciples who were quite well known in the outer sect. The female cultivator in the cloth robe who was surrounded by the other cultivators was Jean Sumian, whom the parrot outside mentioned. She was now at the 7th stage Qi refinement realm and could be considered the weakest among the 4. However, she was good at refining pills, and her status could not be measured solely by her cultivation level. The male cultivator surnamed Xiao, who reprimanded Pei Ling, was called Xiao Ningji. He was at the 8th stage Qi refinement realm. This Xiao Ningji seemed to have a good family background. His speech and deportment revealed the arrogance that came from being pampered since he was young. He was only very gentle and obedient towards Jean Sumian. Clearly, he was wooing this junior from Elixir Peak. The female cultivator in the green blouse was called Lu Luqiang. She was at the 8th stage Qi refinement realm and had a good relationship with Jean Sumian. They were like sisters. As for the last male cultivator, Fan Shi, he was at the 9th stage Qi refinement realm and was only 1 step away from foundation establishment. Fellow Taoist Jean. Just as Pei Ling was feeling a little uncomfortable, a door close to him suddenly opened. A white-robed, white-bearded old man rushed in and said apologetically, "Sorry to have kept you waiting. The appraisal results are out. Please have a look." As he spoke, he moved aside to reveal a long line of maidservants in colorful clothes behind him. All of them were holding ebony lacquer plates covered in brocade. Before the servants even got close, they could already smell the fragrance of elixirs. Chapter 58. Superior, Grade Bone Tempering Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 58. Superior, Grade Bone Tempering Pill. When the people in the room smelled the fragrance, they felt their minds clearing up. Xiao Ningji's reaction was especially exaggerated. Reveling in the fragrance, he took a deep breath, sighed with emotion, and said, "Junior sister Jin's alchemy skills have gone up another level. Just smelling this fragrance will save me a day's work. Senior brother Xiao, you're too kind." Jean Sumian's expression was calm, without any surprise. She turned to the white-robed, white-bearded old man and asked, what was the result? The old man smiled and said, "Taoist Jean sent a total of 347 elixirs this time, of which 164 are bone-tempering pills and 39 are essence-enhancing pills." In a very familiar manner, he first listed the types of pills that Jean Sumian wanted to appraise this time. The smile on his face deepened. "Congratulations, Taoist Jean. Among them, 289 are middle-grade pills and 57 are inferior-grade pills." He deliberately paused for a moment and took a deep breath before saying seriously, "There's another, superior-grade pill. Essence-enhancing pill." "What?" Hearing this, Jean Sumian revealed a faint smile and raised her chin slightly. Her originally calm face was also slightly more expressive now. Xiao Ningji and the other 2 immediately cried out in surprise. They turned to her in unison and said in surprise, "Superior-grade pill." The white-robed old man smiled and said, "That's right, it's a superior-grade pill." He looked at Jean Sumian in admiration. "Taoist Jean, you've devoted yourself to the alchemy Tao and have been able to refine superior-grade pills in less than 10 years. You can be said to be talented. In time, there will definitely be a place for you on the alchemy rankings." "Senior, you're joking." Jean Sumian suppressed her joy and said humbly, "The people on the alchemy rankings are all alchemy geniuses. I'm still far from them. I still need to continue researching diligently." The 2 of them exchanged pleasantries before the white-robed old man and Jean Sumian settled the account. Jean Sumian asked softly, "It seems to be too much." Not much," said the white-robed elder with a chuckle. "This is the pavilion's deputy head's wish. In the future, we will buy Taoist Jin's pills at a 10% premium to aid your cultivation level in improving your alchemy. Thank you very much. Jin Sumian could not help smiling. Xiao Ningji and the others beside her were fawning over her. Xiao Ningji said bluntly, of course, there are alchemy geniuses on the alchemy rankings, but isn't junior sister Jin a genius too? She's even a genius among geniuses. Although Lu Luqiang and Fan Shi were not as explicit as he was, they nodded slightly and acknowledged Jin Sumian's alchemy talent. After a long while, the white-robed old man finally noticed Pei Ling. He thought that he was with Jin Sumian, so he asked, this young Taoist is a little unfamiliar, but which peak is he from? Senior, I'm here to sell pills. Pei Ling was getting impatient. As the saying goes, time is spirit stones, and spirit stones are my life. If not for the fact that Jin Sumian and the rest were all high-level qi refinement cultivators who were more than his match, he would have urged them to stop dawdling just now. He quickly said, please appraise it, senior. That white-robed old man sized him up and saw that he was young and inexperienced. He smiled slightly and did not take it to heart. He only called out to him, show him. Then he continued to talk to Jin Sumian and the others. Pei Ling frowned and looked behind the old man. A teenager who looked to be no more than 15 or 16 years old walked out shyly and said softly, senior brother, where are your pills? Let me appraise them. They're all in here. Pei Ling pondered and handed a porcelain bottle over. Please appraise the quality. He felt a little perturbed when he said this. After all, when he was refining pills just now, the pill fragrance was much stronger than when Yan Gu was demonstrating. Pei Ling relied purely on the system to refine pills. He did not know anything. He did not know if this situation was good or bad. Seeing his casual attitude, the youth did not pay much attention to it. He took the porcelain bottle and opened it casually. However, just as the cork was pulled out, a medicinal fragrance quickly wafted out and filled the room. Fellow Taoist Jin's alchemy skills have improved so quickly. The white-robed old man was smiling as he said to Jin Sumian, I'm sure you'll be able to try refining the foundation establishment pill soon. Jin Sumian shook his head slightly and said, the formula for the foundation establishment pill. Before they could finish, they smelled the pill fragrance and could not help but be stunned. They suddenly turned their heads. The white-robed old man's pupils constricted when he saw the young man pouring out a pill. Just as he was about to hold it up to take a closer look, the old man quickly rushed forward and snatched it. This pill was grayish-white in color, but its translucence was almost like glass. It looked lustrous. Moreover, it exuded an extremely pure fragrance that seeped into the heart. Superior bone tempering pill. The white-robed old man and Jin Sumian exclaimed in unison. Pills were classified into inferior, medium, superior, and supreme grades. No matter what pill it was, as long as it was superior or supreme grade, it would attract everyone's attention. The difference between the bone-tempering pill and the essence-enhancing pill was that it was an essential elixir for the basic skills of the outer sect disciples, the bone-forging art. It was widely circulated in the outer sect and even in the entire Deep Sea sect. However, such a huge base rarely produced superior grade pills. Not to mention a junior in the alchemy Dao like Jin Sumian, even many famous veteran alchemists had never produced a superior grade bone-tempering pill. The reason was very simple. This kind of entry-level pill was used on a large scale. Over the tens of thousands of years of the Deep Sea sect's existence, the pill formula had evolved in terms of price and quality. The simplicity and low cost of the raw materials directly determined the supply limit of this kind of pill. Although it was not impossible to refine superior grade or supreme grade pills, it had extremely stringent requirements for alchemy skills. The problem was that the bone-tempering pill was only an entry-level pill. The profits and uses were limited. If one's skills reached the level of a master, who would do a thankless thing like refining the bone-tempering pill? That was why most of the bone-tempering pills circulated in the deep sea sect were inferior grade. As for middle grade pills, only someone with outstanding alchemy talent like Jean Sumian could guarantee a stable long-term supply. This was also the reason why the 100 Treasures Pavilion valued it so much. Little friend. The white-robed old man suppressed his excitement and did not bother to continue appraising. He quickly said to Pei Ling, "Our 100 Treasures Pavilion will pay 30 inferior grade spirit stones for this superior grade bone-tempering pill. How about that? 30 inferior grade spirit stones." Pei Ling was stunned for a moment. When he came to his senses, he could not help being overjoyed. He had originally thought that selling one pill for 7 inferior grade spirit stones was already a high price, but he did not expect the other party to offer 30 spirit stones immediately. Just as he was about to agree, Jean Sumian narrowed her eyes and shouted, "Wait." She turned to Pei Ling and said in a low voice, "I'll pay 50 inferior grade spirit stones." "Taoist Jean, what do you mean?" The white-robed old man frowned when he heard that. His warmth toward Jean Sumian immediately disappeared. This is the 100 Treasure Tower. This young friend clearly came specifically to sell pills in our 100 Treasures Pavilion. Jean Sumian snorted lightly and said, "Deputy Head Lin, this junior brother just said that he came to sell pills. He didn't say that he would definitely sell them to the 100 Treasures Pavilion. Besides, I didn't force him. Isn't business about mutual consent?" The old man surnamed Lin looked at her speechlessly and said to Pei Ling, "Let's do this. The 100 Treasures Pavilion is offering 50 inferior grade spirit stones for this superior grade bone-tempering pill. In addition, we will add a 10% premium to the remaining pills in the bottle. What do you think, young friend?" Without waiting for Pei Ling and Jean Sumian to speak, he continued, "If you want to sell other pills here in the future, we will offer a premium of 10%. Chapter 59. Master, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 59. Master Pei Ling could hear the implied meaning in the old man's words. Even if Jean Sumian could offer a high price, she could not keep buying like the 100 Treasures Pavilion. After all, she was an alchemist. So in the long term, the premium price of 10% from the 100 Treasures Pavilion was definitely better. "Junior brother, I've already received a promise from Elder Shen in the inner sect. After I build my foundation, I'll immediately become a disciple of Elder Shen." Jean Sumian's expression darkened slightly. She naturally understood what Pei Ling understood. Thinking quickly, she said, "I'm sure junior brother knows Elder Shen's alchemy skills. If you're willing to sell this superior grade bone-tempering pill to me, I'm willing to introduce you to him." Damn it! Before Pei Ling could react, the muscles in the corners of the old man's eyes twitched. Shen Chun, an inner sect disciple, was one of the 5 great alchemists of the Deep Sea sect. Although the Deep Sea sect was not famous for its pill refinement, Shen Chun was the most skilled in pill refinement compared to the other disciples over the years. This person's cultivation level could only be said to be ordinary among the inner sect elders. However, because of his status as an alchemist, he was highly revered and well regarded. It was obvious how enticing Jean Sumian's promise was. Old man Lin quickly reminded Pei Ling, "Little friend, Taoist Jin's offer is only verbal. Who knows if it's true or false? Moreover, Elder Shen has always been straightforward in accepting disciples. Not only does he look for talent, but he also emphasizes natural affinity. In the past, there was an outer sect disciple with outstanding talent who respected his master. However, after kneeling for 10 days and 10 nights, he was still rejected by Elder Shen. Little friend, you're young, so why take such a risk? Why don't you use spirit stones to increase your cultivation and alchemy skills? You can plan things slowly. Junior brother, you have to think carefully." Jean Sumian sneered and advised, "You can earn spirit stones anytime. If you miss the opportunity, there won't be any left. Little friend, The old man whose surname was Lin did not give up. He wanted to say something else, but Pei Ling did not want to listen to their argument anymore. He interrupted, just go with the spirit stones. I'll sell them to whoever gives the highest price. Then he looked at Jean Sumian. Senior Sister Jean, I'm sorry. I'm very short of spirit stones now. I wonder how many spirit stones junior brother lacks. Jean Sumian's heart sank when she heard that. Because of her outstanding alchemy skills, she was considered quite well off among the outer sect disciples. However, it was impossible for her to compete with the 100 Treasures Pavilion in wealth. At this moment, she braced herself and asked, perhaps I can lend a little to junior brother temporarily in case junior brother misses a good opportunity. Pei Ling shook his head. What he lacked now was not a little, but tens of thousands. Unless Jean Sumian was crazy, she would not lend him tens of thousands of spirit stones at once. So he said, thank you, senior sister. If you can lend me 10,000 inferior grade spirit stones, I'll sell all the bone tempering pills to you. Hearing this, Jean Sumian frowned. Her intended price was 1,000 inferior grade spirit stones. Who would have thought that Pei Ling would ask for 10,000? Of course, she could afford to fork out this sum of spirit stones, but she did not know this junior brother of hers. Instead of lending them, it would be more accurate to say that it was a free gift. A mere superior grade bone tempering pill was not worth that much. 10,000 inferior grade spirit stones is too much. Please forgive me for being powerless. Jean Sumian shook her head. Old man Lin's eyes lit up as he chuckled. In that case, this superior grade bone tempering pill will be accepted by our pavilion. As he spoke, he ordered the youth behind him to take a brocade box and specially placed the superior grade bone tempering pill inside. As if he had thought of something, he said to Pei Ling, oh right, let me remind you of something. Superior grade bone tempering pills are precious. In the future, it's better not to put them together with pills of different grades. Seeing that Pei Ling did not respond, the old man Lin did not mind and casually poured out the remaining 11 pills. Amidst the overflowing medicinal fragrance, the 11 bone tempering pills appeared clear and sparkling. Old Master Lin's eyes widened instantly. In his opinion, it was already a blessing for him to have encountered a superior grade bone tempering pill. The remaining pills in this porcelain bottle were at most middle grade or even inferior grade. This was also the reason why he had promised Pei Ling a 10% premium for the purchase. Who would have thought that all the bone tempering pills in this bottle were actually superior grade? All of them are superior grade bone tempering pills. Jean Sumian, who had failed in bidding for the pill, had already left with her companions. However, when she smelled the fragrance of the pills, she suddenly turned around. Seeing this scene, Lu Luqiang could not help crying out in surprise. She knew nothing about pill refinement. She only felt that these 11 pills looked the same as the one that was carefully put away just now. Xiao Ningji and Fan Shi were also stunned. They looked at Pei Ling, flabbergasted. They're all superior grade bone tempering pills. Jean Sumian stared intently at the pills in the old man's hand. Suddenly, she walked back quickly and grabbed Pei Ling's arm. Her eyes shone as she said, Junior brother, may I know which master this bottle of pills came from? Before Pei Ling could say anything, she continued, as long as you're willing to introduce me to this master, I'll immediately get someone to lend 10,000 inferior grade spirit stones to you. If my young friend is willing to introduce the 100 Treasures Pavilion to the master, the 100 Treasures Pavilion is also willing to lend you 10,000 inferior grade spirit stones. Old man Lin had originally abided by the rules of the 100 Treasures Pavilion and did not inquire about the origins of the items. However, at this moment, he could not restrain himself and immediately promised, and it will be fine as long as you repay it within 10 years. Are alchemists so popular? If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have gone to the miscellaneous committee. Feeling touched, Pei Ling said inwardly, System, you're really good. I'll definitely give you a 3-star rating later. Ding, dong, the system said robotically. The smart cultivation system is at your service. Enjoy 1-click management and smart upgrades. Automatic cultivation. End any accidents. No worries about mental demons. Fulfill your dream of ascension. Pei Ling was speechless. He composed himself and quickly replied, "The two of you are mistaken. I just happened to obtain this bottle of pills. I don't know any master." Pei Ling quickly calmed down. He had joined the sect for a short time. He did not have time or spirit stones to gain a general knowledge of pills. In his ignorance, he was directly selling superior-grade pills. Now this scene is 2F** King High. Profile, making me, a non-committal person, feel very insecure. Seeing that Pei Ling was unwilling to say anything, Old Man Lin did not dare to say anything because of the rules of the pavilion. He only laughed dryly a few times. However, Jean Sumian did not have such qualms. She grabbed Pei Ling's arm and refused to let go. She asked, "May I know where you got these pills, junior brother?" Pei Ling pondered over how to reject her without becoming enemies with her. However, Jean Sumian immediately stuffed a porcelain bottle into his hands and said with a smile, "Junior brother, I won't let you work for nothing. This bottle of essence-enhancing pills was refined by senior sister herself. Junior brother, please evaluate them." "Thank you, senior sister." Pei Ling immediately put away the essence-enhancing pill. It would be a waste not to accept benefits that came knocking on his door. Moreover, looking at this senior sister's expression, if he did not accept it, he would offend her. In that case, Pei Ling immediately said, "A senior brother named Chen Huan rewarded me. As for where senior brother Chen got it, I don't know." Jean Sumian asked, "Which peak is Chen Huan from?" After Pei Ling answered, she bargained with the Old Man Lin and bought a superior-grade bone tempering pill before leaving with satisfaction. Chapter 60. Wu Lu comes again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 60. Wu Lu comes again. After Jean Sumian left, Old Man Lin chatted with Pei Ling for a while and began to settle the payment. The bone tempering pills that were sold to Jean Sumian alone were sold at 60 inferior-grade spirit stones. As for the remaining 11 pills, after some discussion, they were sold at 55 inferior-grade spirit stones per pill. In other words, he got 665 inferior-grade spirit stones for such a bottle of bone tempering pills. After deducting all costs for the first refinement, the net profit was 571 inferior-grade spirit stones. It was more than a few times higher than his previous estimation. Reward. This is real profit. Pei Ling was excited but did not show it on his face. He exchanged a few polite words with Old Man Lin and promised that he would come to the 100 Treasures Pavilion to sell similar quality pills the next time he got them. Then he left in a hurry. After all, no matter how high the profits were, he only had a few hundred spirit stones now. It was not even enough to cover the fine. He had to make the most of the time to earn spirit stones. It was not until he left the 100 Treasures Pavilion that Pei Ling came back to his senses. Wu Lu had told him before that the holy sect had obtained a cultivator with the myriad wood rejuvenating body. In order to study the uniqueness of his physique, they severed his limbs, removed his eyeballs, cut off his tongue, cut open his stomach and cut out his internal organs. In the end, he was tortured to death. In his current situation, it was fine if he only went to the 100 Treasures Pavilion to sell pills once. If he sold superior-grade bone tempering pills every time, the fact that he was the one who refined the pills would definitely be discovered. At that time, if he was treated as the second myriad wood rejuvenating body. At this thought, Pei Ling immediately decided that he should not take the risk. The next time I go to the 100 Treasures Pavilion, I must disguise myself. Meanwhile, in a forest some distance away from the 100 Treasures Pavilion, Lu Luqiang was also guessing. Junior Sister Jean, superior-grade bone tempering pills are so precious, so how could that Chen Huan be willing to give them to someone? And an entire bottle at a time. Is it possible that that kid is the refiner himself? Of course not. Jean Sumian could not help laughing when she heard that. She said calmly, Junior Sister Lu, you don't know how to refine pills. No wonder you have such fanciful thoughts. Let's put it this way. We've never heard of that junior brother until just now. Even if he started learning to refine pills from memory, he's still unknown up until now. It's obvious that he's a mediocre person. If he brought an inferior-grade bone tempering pill today, he might have refined it himself. But a superior-grade bone tempering pill. And an entire bottle of superior-grade bone tempering pills. He must be really blessed. But how is that possible? If refining pills is so easy, why would I waste my time studying meticulously? As she spoke, she took out the superior-grade bone tempering pill that she had just bought from her sleeve and sized it up with an admiring gaze. You're all amateurs, so you can't tell. This superior-grade bone tempering pill has extremely ordinary materials. The reason why it can become a superior-grade pill is because the person who refines it has peerlessly exquisite and almost perfect refining skills. From the step of processing the materials, all the impurities were removed. What remained were pure medicinal properties. Then, during the refinement process, the medicinal properties of all the materials were optimized and a perfect balance was established. In other words, not a single pill from this bottle of bone tempering pills became superior by luck. It was purely based on the refiner's ability. The bone tempering pill is just the most ordinary pill, but this bone tempering pill contains the hard work of an absolute master. To an alchemist like me, its value is unimaginable. Actually, this kind of pill should not be sold to the 100 Treasures Pavilion like ordinary cultivation items. It should be auctioned. If that junior brother is really the refiner, why would he waste such a treasure so recklessly? Only he himself said that he got it by chance and was ignorant. That was why he sent it to the 100 Treasures Pavilion. As Jean Sumian spoke, she slowly put away the superior-grade bone tempering pill and snorted with a smile. Such a stupid and unbearable person can sell good things to the 100 Treasures Pavilion cheaply. If I can refine a superior-grade bone tempering pill, I'll even swallow the pill refinement furnace. Lu Luqiang and the others nodded repeatedly in agreement. Xiao Ning's gaze flashed as he said, in that case, should we immediately send someone to Shady Sephora Peak to contact that Chen Huan so as to avoid delaying junior sister from seeking advice from the master? Jean Sumian nodded and said, send someone over immediately. However, before we know about Chen Huan's relationship with this master, we have to be polite. Junior sister, you're right. Xiao Ning nodded politely. I'll remind my subordinates to be careful. Pei Ling did not know what these people were thinking. After he left the 100 Treasures Pavilion, he instinctively rushed to the market. However, halfway there, he suddenly realized something. Although the system's guidance in pill refinement was useful, it had failed because of insufficient spiritual power during the second furnace. In other words, the plan of not eating, drinking, or concocting pills day and night that he had envisaged previously, was not feasible in reality. After all, the system could handle it, but he could not. Fortunately, that senior sister Jean gave me a bottle of essence-enhancing pills just now, Pei Ling muttered. The essence-enhancing pills can help me recover my spiritual power. This bottle is enough to last me for a few days. However, Jean Sumian only gave him one bottle. After he had finished using it, Pei Ling would fall into a situation of insufficient spiritual power and wasting materials again. It seems that my previous intention of temporarily putting down my cultivation and going all out to earn spirit stones is not very reliable. Pei Ling frowned and thought to himself, if I want to earn spirit stones, I have to keep up with my cultivation. Otherwise, even with the system's 100% superior grade pill refinement cheat sheet, I might not be able to earn enough to pay my fine within 3 months. At the thought of this, Pei Ling decided to leave a portion of the bone-tempering pills that he would refine for his own use. After his cultivation level increased, he would not fail in refining pills because of insufficient spiritual energy. He would then sell the remaining bone-tempering pills. But every time, it's superior grade pills. Even if I disguise myself, if I do it too many times, there will inevitably be trouble. Pei Ling thought of a countermeasure. After all, I'm just a new disciple. My words don't carry weight and my cultivation level is low. I'm afraid I can't withstand these people's schemes. Should I think of a way to discuss with Senior Brother Zheng and use his name to do things? Wait. Money moves people's hearts. What if Senior Brother Zheng has evil intentions too? As he was thinking, he took a step forward. Suddenly, the surroundings fell silent. Pei Ling was stunned. The originally beautiful scenery seemed to have changed in an instant to one of desolation. Miss Wu Lu. Having experienced a similar transformation, Pei Ling was only slightly surprised before he reacted and greeted politely, "Is Miss here?" A cold finger touched his lips teasingly. Wu Lu instantly appeared. With a pale face and pure black eyes, she exuded a cold aura and said gently, "Young Master Pei Ling, it has been a long time." Replying to Miss Wu Lu. This female ghost's actions seemed gentle and affectionate, but Pei Ling felt a heavy weight pressing down on him. Even breathing was difficult. He tried his best to stabilize his mind and forced a smile. "I've already mastered the blood spiraling escape technique. Miss, please release your suppression and allow me to show you." Blood spiraling escape technique. The sinister-looking Wu Lu relaxed and blurted out, "Isn't it the blood ghost escape technique?"